Battle control initialized.
Hello there, comrades and cannon fodder. It's Dvoid here. I've got a 1v1 multiplayer game on Timian map, and this is actually my first game of the day, and I'm using France, and my opponent's using Russia for this one. And this is the first of two games I'm going to post as one, because we had this first game, and then I set up a second, and my opponent joined again, so we had a rematch. And like I said, I'm using France, and I wanted to test my early Second War Factory build because the Allies, obviously, they build tanks more quickly than the Soviets can. The Russian and Ukrainian heavy tanks build every 27 seconds, maybe 28 seconds roughly, but the Allied medium tanks build every 21 seconds. So if you build a second war factory, with the Soviets, it goes to 21 seconds, and the Allies, it goes to 16 seconds for their medium tanks, so you can churn them out nice and quickly. And if you combine that with the use of mechanics to bring back husks and destroyed wrecks, and the enemy's destroyed tanks, and your own destroyed tanks, and you also send them to the repair bay, and use any mechanics that are on hand for repairs, you can soon build up a massive tank force if you learn to maintain them nice and effectively, so you're not losing tanks as much. Like before they're about to die, get them out of battle and send them for repairs. You press the letter C and you'll get a small spanner symbol, and if you have a service depot you'll get the spanner symbol come up. Well, no, the C is the repair, but the repair function hotkey. So when you press C, you get the spanner symbol, and you can repair damaged structures. But if you have a service depot, when you press C, you can hover over a damaged vehicle and click on it, and it'll, if you've got a service depot, it'll go to the service depot with that command. You can order a vehicle to repair, and it will drive to the service depot. And you can also click on your service depot, your repair pad, you highlight it, and you can set a rally point with it, just like you can set a rally point like with the barracks. You see this? I've got my barracks, that's the rally point where I've set it, so any troops trained from that barracks will go straight there, and now I've set them to that for the rally points here. And you can do the same thing, set a rally point for the repair bay, so whenever any vehicles are repaired on the service depot, they will rally to where you tell them. Just like a war factory, any production structure has a rally point, and the service depot also does. Naval yards, subpens, helipads, airfields, they all have a rally point function, and a repair bay does as well, so that vehicles repaired on it have a point you can rally them to, so you can get them straight back to the front line if you want. Make it a control group, and then that way you could just press one number button, and then wherever your front line is, you could press that number and then set your rally point to wherever you are, wherever your front line is, so repaired vehicles come back to where you tell them. And I've got a power plant under fire from rifles, and this is what I can see because I've got view range from my structures, but my opponent hasn't got that. This is all he can see, so he's being shot by units that he can't actually see. You see up there, and that's how you defend your base in large attacks. Say these infantry here, you would position them there so that when the enemy infantry wouldn't deployed here to attack you, they wouldn't be able to see you in there because they've got no view range. They'd need a vehicle positioned here to be able to see you. Well, that's what you do. You position your units inside your structures, so you can you see the structures are revealing that as view range. The war factory and the refinery, they're giving me view range here, look. See, that's the refinery's view range here at the bottom. That's from the refinery. So you use these structures' view range to defend your base and put your units behind them and attack while the enemy can't see you. Now, if they use vehicles to balance out that view range advantage you've got, they're your first target. And they can have a massive force of infantry left over. If you can destroy their vehicles, they're at a big disadvantage in an engagement like that. That's why you don't push into an enemy base when you attack. It's just wise not to, and good players will back off, and they might even make you think, oh, I'm losing my oil derrick, and they might even make you think that they haven't got many units and that they're retreating because you're not seeing much resistance when you get to their base. But a lot of the time they will let you engage and move into their base, because say you see a construction yard and you think, oh, your units, so you select all of these and target the construction yard. A good opponent would position his units here and let you, and then he'd pack up his construction yard, get it away, and your units would be left at the mercy with a massive view range disadvantage. You'd be left at the mercy of the enemy. I lost my engineer there. They sniped him, so it was a nice little snipe, but I protected him. It was a bit sloppy the way I protected him. But there's my second war factory, and my opponent's seen it. He's moving in. Let's just have a look at our army values now. It's 11, 10, 9 to me now, but my units were escorting the MCV, so they're caught out of position, not behind my buildings like I've just been telling people to do. But that's why, because they were about to escort my construction yard. So there goes my second war factory, he's destroyed it, and my tanks, you know, they're going to die for nothing. But my light tanks returned with this small force. I was going to try and launch a bit of an attack, but no, that's not happening. Now I've lost a power plant, and I'm at 9,000, my opponent's at 14,000 army value. Let's just see our power levels. I'm okay for the time being. There goes a refinery, and there goes an ore truck. Now I've got base defences on hand, he's going to get mown down. But even while I'm under pressure like this, I have to consider expanding. I have to do other things. You've got to think of the whole picture. That means protecting the flanks so you can see if other attacks are coming, driving these guys off properly and killing as many as you can, and keeping your economy going and getting more expansion set up, because I'm running out of cash rapidly. I'm in a bad way. So, and now my army's out of position, but I want to get rid of this force. I don't want it stopping nearby. So, and I realise how vulnerable I am, and that I've taken a bad hit here, you know, but I've still got normal tank production. And these guys are also escorting my second MCV. So they were serving more than one purpose. But this force staying here, I didn't know about that. And now his main army, let's just have a look at army values again. I'm at 12,000, he's at 17. He's caught my medium tank out of position there, but I've also got this force, but I've got to decide what I'm doing. It's a crucial moment. This has to escape, and I saw that technician appear. So this is getting out of here, but look where I've ordered it. Right up here, that flank attack force that retreated from here. And its orders are heading straight for them. And these guys did a hit and run. Took out a barracks, but I'm getting out of there, and they've drawn the enemy attention, so they're now out of the battle for the moment, but he's destroyed my MCV. I've lost that second one, so it's the second one I've lost. No, it's not the second one, it was my war factory I lost. But now, at this point, I've been caught between two armies, look. And I could have destroyed that small force, it's small, but this force has got 5 heavy tanks with it. Plus he didn't push with that until the right moment, so it was very nicely done. But I was building a mechanic and then a ranger at the same time. I've got a small force protecting this, but it's very little. And I've got a ranger, look, and I wanted to try and get my husk back. And it's already too late. You know, but look, he's dodging these guys. Now he's got to dodge these guys. This is like an action hero ranger, this one. But sadly, his mission was already too late, and I'm driven them off, look, but there's a big army coming now. I'm at 9,000 army value, my opponent's at 23,000 army value, so I've got a problem coming now, and I had to deploy this here because I've only got one MCV, so if I packed it up to place it over here, it would have cancelled that refinery. You can't pack up and keep it ready because I've only got one MCV. That's why you need 2. So one can stay deployed in a construction yard, and the other one moves while you keep structures under construction and ready to place. That's why you need at least 2. But you see, I thought rather than focus my army here and and resist them, losing all my ore trucks, look, but they're trying to get away. I thought I've got to retreat. These guys, you know, I've got to make a stand here. There's no point taking this force on with these, I'd just lose them, and I've lost, you know, too much anyway. But the MCV is making a run for it. Oh, and he got shot. And he ran over the fence, that's a big mistake. He gave himself away. He could have gotten away, I think. I'm not sure if he already knew he was there, but look, yeah, I've deployed. He's going to find him, finish him off. And now I've got... It's a small attack force. This could deal with it if I deployed it correctly. Tanks up front, base defence is working, and these infantry. But I'm being attacked in more than one place. But these guys, yeah, they should be down here. But look, tanks are trying to screen my pillboxes. And I keep units behind my front line, because if tanks come in and crush you, they're still going to be getting shot by the next line of defence, but he's got me, and the tanks will equalise the view range advantage from my structures, look. See, I can see all of his force quite nicely, but his tanks give him a view range equaliser. They equalise his view range disadvantage, the tanks do. That's how you can press into an enemy base and engage equally. But that's when you use artillery to attack from outside a tank's view range, because if you've got artillery pieces, he can't see where you're firing from and things like that. That's why you need more heavy-duty base defences when it gets to later in the game, because look how many heavy tanks he's got, you know? But I could have made better use of mechanics and things. It's just I didn't have the cash flow to sustain it. I got beaten down. But there's the army graph. You know, after the initial engagement, I was just in trouble. You can tell by that. And here's the earnings graph. Oh, look, yep, I had a problem there. I was struggling, and I couldn't maintain like an effective war machine against this opponent. You know, at those cash levels, I couldn't compete, sadly. I could have done better, don't get me wrong, but I just got myself in a bad situation by messing up that build order because of that small early attack. It was a miserable little attack, but it was effective. It worked because it messed up this build order. Here's his finishing army. He's got 12 heavy tanks and a respectable infantry force. Combat chart. I killed 112 units. My opponent killed 166. I lost 16 buildings. He lost 1. And he's got a 30,000 army value at the end, so he's got an effective force to win with. I only destroyed 18,000 value. He destroyed 50,000, so he kicked the crap out of me, basically. He's still producing. Let's have a look. No support powers in effect at the moment. Economy. He spent 70,000. I spent 56. He's got 6 ore trucks left. I wonder why so few. Interesting. 2 oil derricks. Dear me. And here's the basics. He's got a 25 actions per minute. I'm at 32. Not a lot of cash left each, but there's the stats, graphs and charts, and I hope you enjoyed the first game. I'm going to move on to the second game straight away, because it's the rematch of this one, so it belongs with it.
Battle control initialized.
And welcome to game 2, comrades and cannon fodder. This is a 1v1 on Scorched Earth map, and I'm using Russia and my opponent's using Ukraine. Now, the first game that you've just seen was my first game of the day, and I was using France, and it was an opponent I'm not aware of, I don't know. So I was, you know, I was sort of going in at the deep end a bit for my first game. I didn't warm up or have any warm-up games or anything, so, you know, I wanted the challenge out of it, and I certainly got a severe beating because of it. But I thought, well, I'll be serious this time and use my best faction and go on a map that I really like as well, because I do like Timian's one of my favourites, but this map, Scorched Earth, it's a larger scale, and the way it's spread out with larger sources of ore fields further, like, spread to the corners as well and everything, you get the whole, you can use the whole size of the map. But one good thing I think about this Scorched Earth map is the way that they're going for the central assets here, the neutral structures. you can try and go for the centre and gain an early advantage, and it can actually lead to games being decided very early, where one side gains a big advantage early on and pushes it and ends up winning. So your game's over in 8, 9, 10 minutes. That can happen on this map, but also it can go on for a really long game, because there's a lot of routes and flanking routes and sources of income right to the edges of the map, like I say. So it can go on and on and on. This map is good in the sense that anything can happen. You can have any length of game on it, and the map will handle it. The map will support it. Trust me, it's a good one in that sense. You know, I've noticed the enemy's not capturing these neutral assets, so I thought, what's going on here? He's going for War Factory first build, and so I thought, well, I know he's not taking anything. I'll soon investigate his base, and then I'll capture these central assets. The engineers there, he's captured the normal ones, my first 2 oil derricks like usual, but soon I'm going to think I may as well take the hospital, and then this as well, because the hospital's useful to Soviets, and plus it's view range in the centre of the map. You can spot enemy troop movements and things. If your opponent moves a large army through the middle of the map, you'd see it. You know, if he hurriedly sent an attack move on a force from his home base, it'd go through there, and, you know, it'd help you, it'd tell you. It'd reveal that to you, the hospital, as you pass by. If he's in a hurry, so that happens. Plus, if you've got all 3, you've got a nice little bit of view range, and then here and here as well. But I've spotted his base, he's not built anything. He hasn't got barracks. And he hasn't sent scouts out, so maybe he thought my last performance was made this justified this, perhaps. There's a powered there you go, he's got some infantry now, and he's building all his structures. He's got a service depot. I haven't got mine yet. I've got 3 refineries, and I've got my war factory as well. So I'm building. Let's have a look at economy, because I've got the neutral structures, but he went war factory first, so he's actually got 5 ore trucks and I've got 4. That's interesting. And he's had 5 for a bit, and we'll see what's next. Is he gonna have 6 briefly? No, he's built a heavy tank. He's got 5. This should be my 5th, and now I should be building. Yeah, I've got my service depot, so I'll be building an MCV. I've stuck to standard build this time with my best faction on a map I really like, so I'm being more focused and serious. I'm you know, a bit more on form in this situation, and it's 5 ore trucks each now, because I've built 2 from here and 3 refineries, so I'm building my MCV now. Let's have a look. What's my opponent doing? He's building his 3rd refinery. And he's earned more than me, but he's very close. He's spent 25, I've spent 22. We've earned 22 each, he's earned 23. And you start with 5,000, obviously, so you can have spent more than you've earned, because you start with 5,000. That's the standard setting. You can start with different amounts of credits if you want, lots more, but the standard setup with these multiplayer games is agreed on a certain setup, and 5,000 is what you get for starting. That's what influences the build order, is the amount of cash you get to start with. Well, he's got 6 ore trucks now, so that's because he's placed his refinery, his 3rd. And I've got 5, he's got 6. 29 to 32. And let's have a look in army value. I'm at 12, he's at 14. I'm very nearly at 13. Yeah, I'm at 13, and he's at 15, so let's see. Here's our first engagement. I'm trying to get my tanks into position to screen my troops. Base defences in position. He's not got many rockets. That's a mistake. He can't do damage. By this point, it's going on too far. You haven't got enough rockets. That tank's been alive too long and things like that. That's it. That was ineffective. Surprising. And I wouldn't have noticed that so much. I would have just realised that I won the engagement. I wouldn't have noticed that he had so few rockets, I don't think. But now I'm at 10,000 and he's at 9,000, so the situation has changed and it's not going like the last game. There was too many rifles in that group. But I've just got this set up and I decided I've got a refinery ready. I'll have to place it rather than moving all the way over here without building anything or placing anything. It's too long. I thought, just get that placed, it'll earn now. And I've got these 4 ore trucks. They need to dump their ore and get over here. And 1 over here. I need that cash situation sorting quickly. And my opponent's doing an eco transfer and he's attacking my oil derrick. Yeah, he's got his expansion refinery set up there. And I've got 2 placed, but what have we got here? I'm assuming it's another. Yeah, there's a 3rd and a base defence. I'm at 15,000, 16, he's at 40, he's at 15. 16,000 each now, in fact he's slightly ahead. So, the economy, we've got 7 ore trucks each. Right, so he's moved out, nearly all of them he's moved out of his home base. He's got 2 over here, but I think one of them moved back to dump its ore, but he's got 1 here still. And my rifle has told me that he's expanded this far. So I'm securing this, because I don't want him to be able to secure that ore patch and start mining from it, but I know I've got to protect my home base. So most of my forces back there, that means I've split my army in half. It's not an effective tactic usually, but I went for it because I had to do 2 things. So I needed to put as much as possible into it. But look, I targeted the Tesla coil, the power plant. I don't know why I went for that Tesla coil. And then let's check his power, at least see if I did something there. And there's another power plant gone. And service depot. And I'm getting picked off. Can they finish it? Yes, there's the service depot gone. So at least I took out 2 power plants and a service depot. That's not great for the army. Now let's check our army values now. I'm at 15,000, he's at 22,000. That's not good. So now I've realised I've just made a mistake. So my MCV is retreating because I was holding this and preventing the enemy from using it, but I'm legging it. I don't want to be... I'm not going to invest in doing that. I'm going to place a base defence, but I'm not investing in protecting this because I can't even mine there as it is. So I'm retreating. I made a decision to retreat and I'm setting up a force to receive him when he moves in. But I'm at 18,000, he's at 26. He's got a larger army and it's coming now. So let's see, I've set up my forward war factory and a construction yard, base defence, building tanks at the front line, and let's go. He hasn't got enough tanks here. But have I got enough infantry? We've both got deficiencies, and let's see. 20 to 28,000, the initial starting engagement, and I've realised I've got to get my tanks into position. And I've got flamers working. He's got the better concave, but now my tanks are in position, that won't matter. And I've got my tanks targeting his look and moving. I need to keep them moving. There you go. Turn that one around. But I'm at 10,000 army value, my opponent's at 13,000, so he's still got a larger army, but because I destroyed the service depot, he's built mobile flak trucks. Now, my viewers should know my opinion of mobile flak trucks, or, you know, vaguely. Now, to do that, and build them, and rely on them... They're not effective, is all I'm going to say. But he got past me nicely. He's harvesting from there very quickly. That's very good. But he needs a service depot fast. I can't believe he's got flak trucks. They're not going to do anything. They can harass, but I'm just going to see. We've got 6 here. They won't do anything. And I don't want to destroy this. Obviously, my regular viewers will know why. And I've got my construction yard here. And I've already got my airfield, and I've got my radar dome, and now I've got a Soviet barracks close, so the thief pops out straight away. And here we go, we've got an engagement, but I'm in between the enemy's buildings. It's bad, but my tanks are there, and that will equalise the view range advantage of the enemy, so I'm okay. Now I've got an aircraft, give me some view range, but I spotted that for some reason he didn't get away, and I thought I ordered him to, but here you go. I've got the chokehold on him, and that was about nearly £1,000, and I've moved past these structures, but I'm going to destroy those power plants. He destroyed my engineer, so there's no more chokehold. But all but one thief made it in. So I've got £6,000. My opponent's scratching back. He's got up to £1,000 now. There, he's sold that, and he's right to, because thieves and engineers are going to move in. But I did lose about, you know, probably a few thieves and a couple of engineers there, so I've lost a fair value. But taking away the enemy's credits, that is invaluable. Getting them and spending them yourself is one thing, but to actually take them away from the enemy that's priceless. And now my opponent's relying on flak trucks. His forces are basically irrelevant. It's 15,000 to me, 12 to the enemy. He's got one heavy tank now, so I'm guessing he's got a service depot, or did have. Yeah, he's got one there, look. But I'm going to destroy that war factory soon, so the service depot will be useless to him. But look, the flak trucks are behind, and that's nice to see. That is actually quite good. I like that. I've never seen them used like that, but they seem to be killing troops. So, and they've got the perfect view range on my units, look. Let's see what I can see. Look, I can't see those flak trucks, but the tank equalises the view range advantage. But look, those flak trucks are attacking my men from outside their view range. That's why you see here, that's why you need your vehicles. And he's killed them all. That is interesting. I'm not buying it that flak trucks are relevant or useful. They're not. They're only good for aircraft or targeting artillery. Here we go, an aircraft is coming in, and I got 2 of them. But they are very good for aircraft, and I build flak truck groups when the enemy builds aircraft or tech units. That's when I respond and build them, because they're very cheap and easy to build. But I wouldn't use them for a frontline unit in combat. To do this and chip away at infantry, they're very micro intensive. But here we go, I've got some more infiltrations and that. And that was a £2,500 nearly. Ouch. I've got nearly 10 grand. My opponent's got a couple of grand left still, so I can still make use of some of his credits. I'm destroying this because he's actually harvesting from it. And we don't want that, do we? But he's actually got a base here. He's got his service depot and a war factory and a barracks. He's not got much cash, but... And this has run out now. But I'm keeping that alive, obviously, because he can't harvest from it at the moment, and I'm want to keep it to do the chokehold. There's aircraft crashed. He's called it because I found him. But there you go. That was the rematch. So there's 2 games for you. I really enjoyed those 2 games. They were good battles. And here's the army graph for you. But my opponent, you know, I should have sent those rifles early to investigate, because he didn't even have a barracks for ages and that. It was... but he thought he was justified because of my performance in the first game. He can only react to what he saw from me, and I did terribly, so that's fair enough for him to go for that build and take that risk. You know, that's perfectly fine. He didn't make a mistake at all. You know, he's only going by what he's seen. It was just, this is my better faction, and I'm far better with them. But I should have investigated sooner with the rifles that I moved into position. I sent one up here or something, and one around here early on. I should have sent them in sooner, because by the time I sent them in, he'd just started building troops. And there was a good while where there was nothing but structures or trucks. So I should have sent them in sooner. But there's the army graph, and my opponent... His army size really peaked there, look. What's that at the 9.5 minutes? That's impressive. That was a far larger army than I had. That was a far larger army than I ever had. And I had like, here, that looks like a 20 grand army I had at best. And this guy, it's like a 28 grand army or something he had. That's impressive, if not more. But there you go, there's the army graph anyway. Earnings graph. Yeah, that's fairly standard. A spike at the end to keep me going. My opponent had a bit of an earnings drop there. That would have been unwelcome at that point in the game for him, I'm sure. But there's my finishing army. I've got 7 heavy tanks and aircraft, standard small force. My opponent finished with a larger force than that. I've got a 17,000 army value. My opponent finished the game with about a 30 grand army value, the first one. But I've only lost 1 structure. My opponent's lost 17, so that's about similar to the first game, although I think maybe I might have lost more than 17, but I could be wrong. But it's a similar story, and my opponent had only lost 1, if I remember correctly. Destroyed 82,000 I did in assets, and my opponent destroyed 64,000 in assets. Support powers, I've got my paratroopers and spy plane ticking down because I've got an airfield here, but I built the radar dome for my thieves, as you saw, so there'll be plenty of infiltrations to watch in the video. And the chokehold was employed as well, and I did because in the first game I got a beating, so that's why I used my best faction. I thought, you know, I needed it. I would, you know, when I used allies, I lost quite decisively. Production's underway, I'm building aircraft, and I earned 127,000, my opponent earned 109,000, and I finished with 9 ore trucks. Basics, I had 32 actions per minute. This game, my opponent had 40 actions per minute, so he was working more quickly this game. That was interesting. But I think my infiltrations boosted my cash nicely. I'm at 11 grand at the end. That's quite nice, I can retire on that. But there's your stats and graphs and charts, and that's the rematch. I hope you enjoyed both games, viewers, and if you liked what you saw, give us a sub and a like, and take good care of yourselves, and until next time, for now, goodbye.
Battle control terminated.